Gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Ivey, is recognized for an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment at the desk, and I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading of the
Without objection, the reading of the amendment is dispensed with, and the gentleman is recognized for remarks on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm aware of the lateness of the hour. In fact, my staff's urging me on to move quickly. Also, it's my 37th wedding anniversary, so. Okay, I'm giddy. I had a college classmate I ran into a little while ago, and he said, "You're still married? I never imagined you'd be married longer than me." So.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. We've talked a little bit about the impact on government employees tonight. Certainly, we mentioned earlier 444,000 that are losing their collective bargaining rights. I've got 6,800 plus that have already been laid off. 25,000 on probation and are vulnerable. In fact, I think the court's already ruled that the administration can lay them off. 7,000 plus that are in limbo. Nearly 6,000 veterans have been fired. This amendment is aimed at stopping the bleeding with respect to the RIFs. And, I have a lot of government employees in my district for sure, although 20% are in the Washington, D.C. area, 80% are across the country. But we talked a little bit about two things already, so I won't go into it too much length. But one is the role of Congress. The massive reorganization of this government that's being undertaken right now is virtually unprecedented. And when we've had reorganizations in the government previously, Congress always played a role in making sure that it happened. In fact, usually they made votes, and the president worked with the Congress to make that move forward. But as one of the justices said, presidents have worked with Congress rather than around it when seeking to significantly reorganize agencies that comprise the executive branch. We don't have that going on right now. The current executive administration, President Trump, is working around Congress to get this reorganization done. I think it's important to make sure that Congress continues to play a role, not just because of the institutional competence piece, not just because of the checks and balance and separation of powers, but also there's a vital function that these government employees play, that the federal executive branch plays in making sure that the government moves smoothly and that we have a great country that runs in the right way. And we've had that for decades now. We've had outstanding work from public employees. Some of them have gotten laid off. I ran into one in my district. He had a PhD in neurobiology. His job was to do inspections work and clinical trials with respect to Parkinson's disease. He got laid off in the middle of the clinical trial. I ran into another guy who was a mechanical engineer. He had a PhD as well. His job was to inspect new medical devices to make sure that they work correctly. I don't know if we don't have people that are doing that now. Hopefully there's somebody there. And we do know that some of the layoffs have resulted in recalls later. They did them so quickly, they didn't realize they were sending people out that they were actually still going to need to keep doing the work. But it's clear that it hasn't been done in an organized way. It hasn't been done in a coordinated way. And it's been done in an overly expensive way, too. The Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations released a report just in July that's called the $21.7 billion blunder, analyzing the waste generated by DOGE. And the point that they're making is, because they did these layoffs so quickly and so recklessly, it led to a giant increase in the cost that was going to come out of that. I guess the DOGE concept was to actually save funding, but they squandered the money in the way that they did this. This amendment is aimed at stopping that, making sure that we continue to have Congress play a role in what's going on, making sure that we deal with issues like whether it's Schedule F and Schedule G issues, whether it's the union busting piece that's going on as well. I guess that's in the courts too. But let's get our role back in this to make sure we're controlling what's happening, that it's going in the right way, and that we're absolutely sure that it's being done in the way that's best for the American people. So I urge you to vote yes on this amendment, and with that, I yield back.